You have been pretty vocal about all this stuff that's happened this week. How do you feel about it all now, a few days later?
Um, I think initially it was more of like an annoyance. I'm just like, really, um, for one person, but at the end of the day, like, this is my job and I'm professional, and if my job requires me to go somewhere else, then that's what I need to do. And we're really not too phased about the change. For me, it was more of like I wanted confirmation, like from the UFC, so I could tell my coaches to make sure that they were able to change their flights so they could get here. And once I got that, we were just like, okay, whatever happens, happens. We'll just go with the flow, like, just as long as they're there.
Financially, has it affected you?
I'm sure we'll see afterwards. It is a bit of a bummer going from a state with no tax to a state that does have significant tax. I've fought in California before, and it does take a significant chunk out of that paycheck. And, on top of paying, coaches and management, all that kind of stuff, it does start to add up. But what can I do? It is what it is.
Do you think that Jon Jones is a cheater?
I think if something is in your system, something's in your system, and it doesn't get there without your knowledge. I think as an athlete, you are 100%, like, USADA literally gives you a call when you sign up with the system and said you are 100% in charge of what goes into your body. And so what you put in your body is your fault if it's coming up and it's getting tested. To be honest, I haven't really thought too much about it. All I know is that every time I've been tested, I always come back clean. I'm a clean athlete, and I know that 100% I can say that.
Look, at the end of the day, the job's got to be done, but it's costing my family, friends, people that are here with me a bit of money. It's a bit of a hassle for all of us. Then people are throwing around this like tax that we supposedly need to pay and all this sort of stuff. So I'm trying not to think about it. It pisses me off because I'm all for being clean in the sport and stuff like that. And that's why I just called out my this opponent, because I'm major against that. But at the end of the day, I've got a job to do. So maybe when I win, I can let everyone know that was for the clean athletes in the world. Look, I'm definitely surprised that this is happening, but at the same time, I understand how it works. Like, obviously having him on the main card, it's going to sell a lot of pay-per-views. So, I understand it. When if California's willing to do it, then I guess I can see what happens. But I'm a bit disappointed it's going to cost all of us. I don't think it's going to cost Jon Jones much, but it will cost my family a fair bit. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit dirty on that. But at the same time, I'm just glad I get to fight Chad Mendes on one of the biggest cards of the year. So it's all good. I haven't really talked to anyone about that sort of stuff, but they're still doing what they can to look after us. So that's good. But we'll see what happens. As long as it doesn't cost me too much, and I know they can give us a little bonus maybe to take care of that tax, I'll be happy, and then I don't have to worry about it. But I don't really know. I'm trying not to think about it too much. I don't believe the story. No, I definitely don't. Whether that's scenario, you never know with each scenario, but has he, I just believe that he always has been a cheater. But that's me. So people can take it with a grain of salt, but that's just how it is.
I actually look at that as history. I mean, I do feel like in the big sports earlier on, there was some type of dilemma like that. So I look at it as, just switching locations. I'm actually happy to be a part of it. There's a lot of confusion, but I do, just look on the bright side and just see, I'm in LA now. Do I believe the story that he's a clean athlete? I mean, of course, he's also a good teammate too. So, I mean, if you don't, I'm not USADA, so I don't really know how to even go about that. But I do believe, in my defense, his defense is just don't really know how that goes. I usually keep my stay out of that.
Yeah, what can you say? It sucks what happens. As a fighter, you have to be prepared to anything happen fight day. Fight week, anything can happen. People get injured, sick, doesn't make weight. But like moving the whole show, was like a big thing, So, and this situation with Jon again was like, come on, it's not the first time. It's every time something happened, So. But as a fighter, we have the mentality to refocus and just to be ready and do your thing on Saturday. I'm not an expert in the area, but I think there's a lot of questions to ask about why this substance comes now. If it was such a little amount 1 year ago or 18 months ago, how come it's still such a little amount, and there's a lot of questions. Who are the experts that are evaluating and these things, but I think with time everything will show how the circumstances about this are gonna go through. But I think if you test positive, you're positive. Other fighter tested positive and were away for a while, for less amount. So there's a lot of questions around this, to answer.
Do you believe Jon Jones is a clean fighter?
No, I don't.
I'm not really letting it get to me too much. I'm very focused on the fight. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of people are putting a lot of energy into, a lot of people are upset about accommodations that they had made with their families, the team being here. It is a holiday week, so a lot of people like myself brought the whole squad down here, and there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of mixed feelings about it, but at the end of the day, I'm very focused on the fight, and once we get through Saturday, I think the rest of that stuff will kind of work itself out. But it's definitely unfortunate that a product of one person, or just everything around Jon Jones, we all have to kind of pay for it. And I don't mean that in a monetary way. I just mean that in a sense like, oh, we got to shift the car, we got to pull up shop, move elsewhere, and kind of deal with all this stuff. But I'm just focused on the fight. I can't say I agree with it. I can't say I disagree with it. It's a very odd situation. It raises a lot of questions, and I haven't really put too much energy into it. I want to just focus on my fight. And I'm just glad that, my initial worry was they were going to scrap the event. That was my first worry is, when everything started coming out, I'm like, this is going to suck. I just put in like a really long, this is one of the longer training camps I've done, having to go up a weight class, having to put on mass and spend more time in the gym. So I was really just keeping my fingers crossed that they weren't going to cancel the event. And I'm just thankful that we get to compete. And, it's just when Jon Jones fights, there's always something.
Do you think Jon Jones is a clean fighter?
I think Jon Jones is just Jon Jones. I mean, the facts say no. I mean, you look at his shortcomings, his hiccups with this whole UFC 200, this event. 217 with Daniel Cormier. But it's not my place to say who he is and what he is. That's just a tough call to make. I think that it's just unfortunate that even if he is, or if, the what ifs, it's like if he is and has been clean and it's all been mishaps, it's still unfortunate because he's going to have that, he's talking about asterisks earlier in his press conference. There is going to be asterisks next to his name, with all these incidents he's had. But, it doesn't matter. The guy still has a ton of skill. You know what I mean? What Jon Jones' gifts are as a fighter, they're not attributed to steroids. You know what I mean? The guy's got great technique. He is a high-level wrestler. His frame and his body has put him in a position to be able to do techniques that we've never seen before. You don't get an 85-inch reach and a slick jab from Turnbull. You know what I mean? So I'm not vouching for the guy, but I'm not going against the guy. But it's just Jon Jones is just this mystique. I can't wait to see his 30 for 30 in 10 years.